Join us for our 2-day adventure in Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks. This was our first time to both parks, and we wanted to pack in as much as we could. We flew into Jackson Hole late Friday night and didn't make it to our campground till after 1 in the morning. Stick around to the end to see some of our favorite shots. Our first objective was Lamar Valley for sunrise, meaning we only had 2 hours at the campground before we had to head out. We had heard that Lamar Valley was one of the best places to see wild animals, and we wanted to capture the dawn and golden hour. The bison were the first animals we saw. By the end of the trip, we knew that this would be quite common, but we were excited to see them first thing in the morning. There were a group of bison resting just beyond the Lamar River trailhead. The sun had still not crested over the hills, making for some moody and sometimes foggy lighting. Bison calf in late April and May in Yellowstone, so we saw lots of babies finding their legs. We had our first black bear sighting far across the valley floor. Exciting nonetheless. This bear walked off into the forest. While watching the bear, we noticed a few sandhill cranes in the foreground. Unfortunately, this will be our only time seeing them during our trip. Although they never got that close, it was still a new bird for us. You can see that many bison were still in the midst of shedding their winter fur. We saw this guy wallowing in the dirt quite close to Slough Creek Camp Road. We spotted a small pond surrounded by tall grass just off of Slough Creek Campground Road. I made my way through the grass and mud to get to the water's edge. There was this fun family of American goots swimming around and bathing. The low golden sunlight was in full force down by this pond. The yellow-headed blackbird was a new bird for us. Perched high in the grasses is what compelled us to stop and have a closer look at this pond. This female yellow-headed blackbird appears to have just caught a grasshopper. As we made our way back to the main road in Lamar Valley, we noticed him howling and looked up into the hillside. Although not wolves, it was great to see these backlit coyote. The bison had little regard for the building traffic as the morning continued. We were able to capture the backlit breath of the bison as they walked along the hillside just above the road. We set out for a 4-mile hike along the Lamar River Trail. We saw 2 badgers on our hike, but they didn't stick around for long. This canyon wren was singing up a storm. The wildflowers were in full bloom, making for a great backdrop for some of the wildlife photos. As we arrived at our turnaround point at the river, we spotted this azuli bunting, another new bird for us. Typically used as a mating call, we're not sure why this bison spent so long growling in the middle of the road. This was our closest sighting of grizzly bear digging in the dirt. The heat haze was pretty bad at this point. As we wrapped up our time in Lamar Valley, we headed back to camp, taking in the sights along the way. We had planned to split our time between capturing the wildlife and checking out the amazing geothermal activity within the park. Our main stop as we headed back to camp was the Mud Volcano area. The diversity of steam vents, hot springs, mud pots, and other features were truly amazing. The habitation of bison so close to these geothermal areas seemed to truly capture the essence of Yellowstone. Dragon's Mouth Spring was my favorite feature of the trail. After dinner at camp, we headed back out to Hayden Valley for some more golden hour wildlife viewing. This black bear was busy digging for food and never really showed its face. We saw our first elk of the trip, not far from camp, grazing along the roadside. As the sun set, I was fortunate to have switched to my large aperture 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8 lens, just in time to capture this coyote hunting in the tall grass. In many ways, this last sighting was the highlight of the day, with an amazing backdrop, great lighting, and extremely close action. Stick around to the end to see some of the still photos from this scene. As our first day wrapped up, we felt like we had seen a lot and were satisfied with the day. We had another early morning plan, so headed back to camp to get some sleep. At 5 in the morning, we headed to Old Faithful in the hopes of catching an eruption at dawn. We were fortunate to only have to wait 15 minutes for it to erupt, just as the sun was cresting the tree line. This was a great time of day to check out such a popular area. There were only 2 cars in the parking lot that could probably hold 1,000. We next headed to Grand Prismatic Spring, but when we got to the overlook, steam was covering the area, so we headed out on a hike, waiting for the steam to burn off. These downy woodpeckers had great contrast with the burnt logs of the forest. The western flycatcher were also a new bird for us. When we got back to the overlook, the steam had mostly burned off, leaving a great view of the Grand Prismatic Spring. Although not originally on our itinerary, Black Sand Basin turned out to be one of the most spectacular geothermal areas of the park. Although our time in Yellowstone was brief, it certainly did not disappoint, and we will be back for a longer trip in the future. We next headed to Grand Teton National Park for our last night of camping close to the airport for an early morning flight. This northern flicker was a great spot and one of our many stops along the way down the road. These elk were much further away than the ones we had seen the day before, but it was great to see the family grazing along the riverbed. One goal we had in Teton was to see moose. This first sighting was brief. We had another great moment with the bison in golden hour lighting. We thought our wildlife viewing had come to an end for this trip, so we headed down to the river for a swim. When we got down there, we spotted a moose, so I ran back to the car to get the camera. Just like the coyote sighting the evening before, the light was getting low, so I switched to the large aperture lens. Fortunately, this moose stuck around feeding on the bushes, and I was able to get quite close. Here are some of the still photos from our trip. If you enjoyed following along on our adventure, consider subscribing for more content like this.